This is May 25th, 2019. You're listening to the Yalak Emet channel on youtube.com, Twitter, and Patreon. The title is God Sent Us. People usually say that God sent them, and that was a very common thing in the Christian church. People would always say, God sent you here today to listen to my message or to be a part of this service to get healed or prayed for or breakthrough. They also say God sent us or God sent me to speak to you, to preach this message to you, and so on. I found in the Hebrew Israelite religion as well that the same thing was there. Or you've got the teachers of the Torah and the New Testament telling blacks that God sent them. They'd say God sent us to wake up the 12 tribes of Israel. They've got their classes online, and some have their own personal websites. Some are in classes, others are on the streets. And it has grown to be a very international thing. So they're really saying you should listen to us because God sent us. And I want to look at the scripture here today of Moses being told to go deliver the children of Israel by God's power, because they say that this is spiritual Egypt that we're in, and this is the exodus of blacks out of this modern Egyptian slavery in response to Deuteronomy chapter 28, bondage for the curses that fell upon, as a part of the curses that fell upon the children of Israel for not keeping the commandments of the Most High. They say God sent us to bring the truth to you and to raise up the 12 tribes and to bring them back together. Some even tell you to get back into your camps. So because they treat this as Egyptian bondage, then let's read from the Egyptian bondage scripture in Exodus chapter 3. And we're going to start from verse 11 and 12 and see what the deliverance was like when God was sending someone, similar to how they're saying today that he is the one sending them to blacks. So Exodus chapter 3 verse 11 and 12. And Moses said unto God, Who am I, that I should go unto Pharaoh, and that I should bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt? When he says bring forth, that word there is yatzah from the Hebrew, means to go out, come out, exit, go forth, depart, proceed, to go. So he has to go on a little bit of a journey. He has to, in a sense, rise up, the same way they are rising up today telling you that God sent them. He has to rise up out of his regular day-to-day schedule of what he's doing there in the desert of Midian with the sheep and whatever else he's doing with his life. He has to change course now, go in a different direction in life. He has to go and make a journey. On this journey, he has some doubts and he wants to know how this is going to work out. So note that the journey has already begun in his heart. He can see ahead. The journey is already in his heart. He has already in his heart traveled all the way back to Egypt, to standing before the Pharaoh, and can see that this is not a good situation for him normally. So then he says, hold on, let me put the brakes on this and ask, how am I going to get this done? Who am I? So, in other words, he's trying to make some preparation, even if it is just a mental preparation for the Yatzah, the journey to depart. And we see here, as he is preparing, these black Hebrew Israelite teachers have made some kind of preparation already. They're very structured, they know just what to do. They're all lined up nicely on the street, or they're well put together in the classroom. And they have on the right garments. They've got microphone and speaker, power speaker in some cases. And they've got charts and pictures. And of course, they've got their Bibles and maybe other books with them. So they are prepared. Something has gone on for this journey. Because what they're trying to show you in order for you to see it as a selling point is that this is so close in its operation to what happened in the Bible time when God was delivering the church of Israel, that you should not doubt it. Moses went forth with some preparation, and we also have gone forth out of our regular life, whatever we were doing, and we prepared for the task ahead, and here we are now before you. Believe us, because God sent us. Verse 12, and he said, certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee, that I have sent thee. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. So it says, this shall be a token. So, first of all, he tries to give him some comfort right there, some assurance. He says, I will be with thee. Then he goes on to say, this shall be a token unto thee, a token, oath from the Hebrew, a sign or a signal, a remembrance. So certainly he's going to have that on his mind. It's a miraculous sign. So, or a miracle, a proof. This is not going to be something that he will be able to ignore. This will be so clear that as you read the entire scripture, you will understand, though, that the sign will not only be seen and known by Moses, but also by the children of Israel. So he's going to give him a token or a sign. So this is going to, in the end, be something, might I say, a little bit on the tangible side, because he's looking for some assurance in his heart. That's what he's doing. It's a heart thing. He's somewhat uncomfortable because he has to go back to Egypt to face the Pharaoh, and we know that he fled long time ago after killing an Egyptian, and it said he hit him in the sun and he took off because it was found out what he did. So he's troubled. So he's giving him this sign to let him know he will not be alone through all of this. Certainly I will be with thee, and this is a sign. A sign is very important. Keep that in mind. I'm coming back to that. So the sign that I have sent thee, when thou hast brought forth, see forth again, Yatzah, to go out. So that's the journey. I said he's going to go out, proceed. He's going to go on a little journey. When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. So notice here that the token that will let him know that certainly I will be with thee is the sign that certainly I will be with thee. What is a sign that lets you know that God is with these people telling you that they are the Hebrew Israelites raising you up for deliverance out of this modern day spiritual Egypt. He gave him a token, a sign, something tangible, so that certainly I will be with thee, will be something that can be known in the physical, so that Moses can understand in his heart that there is no reason for fear. But you are still fearing on the streets of America and every place else, Jamaica, Brazil, everywhere, we're getting worried. Because everybody's talking about you're going to be locked up in FEMA camps, you're going to be beheaded, all the scary stuff they always tell you. But he gave him a physical sign, and he told him just what that sign or token is. When thou hast yatsa the people, in other words, when thou hast gone on the journey and you reach the people, then you bring them back, you shall serve me or serve God upon this mountain. So the sign is going to be after he does the journey of going to the people, when he makes contact with the people, then he will do something with the people, what he will lead them out. So contact is not just to drop off or deliver some mail like you're delivering a message. Contact is for the express purpose of guiding the people or bringing them out by your hand, like you're walking someone by your hand, which would be the hand of the Lord. You're bringing them out because he's standing in the place of God. That's why the Most High said to him, you be like a god, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet. So by the hand of God, or by the hand of Moses, in a way, saying it by the hand of Moses means there's going to be physical contact or physical proximity with Moses and the children of Israel. That's why he was going to Yatsa, or go on the journey. Which is why he wanted the assurance, because how can I go on this Yatsa journey, make contact with the people, and bring them out by my hand? I must have your hand in order to pull and bring them out and guide them out. So God says, in order for you to have my hand, I will make you a god. And you will bring them by your hand, which is really my hand, meaning that you have a hand of power, a powerful hand, the power to bring them with you where to this mountain. And that will be the token or the sign. So the journey will have him make contact, and the contact is only to bring the people back. He cannot bring them back if he does not make contact with the people. There must be proximity, closeness. He's going to make contact with the people. So there's going to be a physical contact with the people. And then another physicality will take place, which is the token or the sign. They will serve God on this mountain. Please note, when they tell you God sent us to raise up the tribes of Israel, their story breaks right there, because they have made contact with you online or on the street or in a classroom, telling you that you're Israel, but they have not brought you out in order to show the token or the sign that God was with them, or that God is with them. But they have not brought you out in order to show the token or the sign that God was with them, or that God is with them. So if God is not with them, who is with them? If God did not yatsa or send them to go forth, who sent them? This is real Torah-based teaching. Get some ideas about the scriptures for yourself. People are teaching you way too much without you looking into it for yourself. No problem with listening to people, but are you looking into it for yourself? The contact Moses made was in order to establish the token or the sign. So the token, we always think of this token as being something that God does alone. Sometimes God does a sign, yes, on his own. But as we can see in this case, the sign was something that Moses had to participate in. He had to go to the people, let them know God sent me, and then bring the people back for the sign to be seen, which is a worship that would happen on the mountain, or a coming together of the people and God on the mountain. If the people and God did not come together on the mountain, there would have been no token shown. No sign would have been shown that God is with them. If the Torah teacher does not bring you back to a place of safety before transatlantic slavery and other slaveries that our people have been through, if the Torah teacher goes on a journey to reach you, but does not yet bring you forth out of the trouble you are to a place of safety where you can meet with your God, you do not have any sign that God sent them, or that God is with them, or that God is with you. You have no token. You have no token. So they use the story, the first part of the story, enough just to get you enticed, to let you listen. Oh, you're in spiritual Egypt, and we're in bondage under the white man and slavery. But then they stop at the part where they went to the people, which would be you. Just like Moses went to the people and got there in Egypt. But they don't bother with the other part that says he returned with the people through miracles of pillar of fire and pillar of cloud and crossing Red Sea, and the army of the wicked Egyptians were destroyed. They don't bother show you how your oppressor today is destroyed, because they can't go that far. So they drop off the story at that point, because they don't have any token to show you that God is with them or with you. The sign, the token, is the proof that God was with Moses. If you do not have proof that God is with you, it is because you are not able to find any proof or sign that God is with them who are delivering the message to you. And if you do not have such a sign, you are not then in a place of safety, because God did not send them. And if God did not send them, you are not safe, because you are not delivered. You have not yet saw or been brought forth out of your bondage. You are still enslaved. So token is proof. And notice the proof in the text is post-dated, so that Moses can only have assurance, or the completeness of assurance, after returning to the mountain with the people. He tells him, I will be with you. Notice, I will, because it's a future thing. The token or the proof is a future thing. The proof is post-dated. I will be with you, that's in the future. And how will you know that? When you have brought the people out and come up on this mountain and worship me or serve me on this mountain. It's a post-dated proof. The proof is not even while they're worrying, oh, the Egyptians are behind us, because they have not yet been properly delivered. The proof is after the Egyptian empire has been destroyed, army has been destroyed, and they're now on the mountain, they're now in a place of safety, and the army has been taken down. There is no more threat. Now that is proof. You worship me on this mountain. If for decades and decades and decades, and over 100 years, black Hebrew Israelites from Africa, from Nigeria, from wherever they came from, all the way into different parts of the states, and now they're going down to Jamaica and Caribbean and every place else they're going to, Brazil, everywhere they're going, in the UK, everywhere. After so long, there is still nothing else going on to show you proof of your safety and deliverance. God did not send anybody to deliver you. He wasn't sending Moses with a message. He was sending Moses with a deliverance. But the deliverance just had a message that went along with it as a functional part of the deliverance. But if the deliverance does not happen, then the message alone being delivered was a failed mission. If all you have ever heard on the street or online on a YouTube challenge is God sent us to raise the tribe of Israel and to deliver you and so on, you have only gotten a message. You have not been told anything about a deliverance that is provable. God would deliver if he sent them for so long. Look how long these African rabbis have risen up. And then it finally came over here to the US, to North America and so on, still spreading. And there can be no deliverance. All that's going on is just a message from God, like God just loves talking. In the Torah, God was a God of action. From the very first chapter in the book, and God said, let there be. He talked, but he also created. He backed it with action. And all you can ever hear is God just talking through them when they tell you God sent us. So you will not have a token or a sign or assurance until the proof happens, which is deliverance and safety. So you cannot look at a Hebrew Israelite movement online or on a website or in a street somewhere and say this is proof that God is doing this. Proof or verification of deliverance from Egypt is a return to safety. Are you safe in Brazil, Australia, Venezuela, in Jamaica, in the UK? Are you safe in America? Or are you only hearing a message that God sent us to raise up the 12 tribes of Israel? The proof is not that blacks are wearing Hebrew garments in America and the islands and other places and creating their own dialect of the Hebrew language, but proof that God sent them is being free of the Trumps, of the Obamas, of the Bushes, of the Clintons, of the Commonwealth nations. When you are free like that, you will know for sure for yourself God sent them to raise up the 12 tribes of Israel and to bring deliverance, because you would have connected with your God and you will feel safety. You will know safety because you will experience safety on a day-to-day basis. Ask yourself the question, did God send these teachers?